As long as when people re-engage, they're re-engaging on a level of commonality,
that's a discipline
right?
thing, and this is what we share. You and I are both disciplined people, and it's one of the things I really respect about you. You're a very hard worker. You're always on the ball. You're very disciplined. And I know that a lot of conservative people admire that, and they admire that in folks, and they think that people who are liberal are not disciplined. They think that they're lazy. It falls into this like weak beta male sort of category of people that are progressive and liberal. And I think that's a misunderstanding. I think you and I both agree that the struggle is very important, but I'd struggle physically so that I don't have to struggle mentally. I struggle physically so that I can have a better way of looking at things with less stress. Mm-hmm. So we have this shared belief that things should be a struggle. I force my struggle on myself so that I can have a better perspective. And this is something that you and I differ on. Like, I think you exercise, right?
Yes.
How often do you do it?
I try to every day.
Yeah. Makes a big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both understand that struggle it's an important part of understanding yourself.
Yes.
If you do not push yourself, if you do not struggle, you're not going to really get who you are or what your boundaries are. And if you're self-indulgent, if every day you're stuffing things in your face that you want to, like, it's good to have a rule. Like, hey, for this next month, you can't eat this, or you can't do that, or I want you to start fasting 16 hours a day. Is it that hard? Just eat for 8 hours a day and fast for 16? No, but that just doing something like that and setting these guidelines for yourself and putting yourself into a disciplined state can be extremely beneficial. Like Jocko Willink always says, discipline equals freedom. It is a great formula, and it's real.
Well, and again, it is the basis of a lot of religion. I mean, a lot of religion is very practice-based. It's one of the reasons I like Judaism as opposed to other religions. It's a very practice-based religion. You know, sometimes you can take that too far in one direction, which is, I say, you need to balance reason with dictates that are meant to make you better. But that goes all the way back to Aristotle. I mean, Aristotle talks about how you have to practice to be good, right? You have to practice to be virtuous. What makes you a virtuous person is acting repeatedly in accordance with right reason. And that is setting rules for yourself, right? That is not violating every rule. I think when we talk about, on the conservative side, you know, folks on the left being lazy, I don't mean that in terms of work. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is a hard worker, I assume. I think Jack Dorsey, when he's not getting bitten by mosquitoes, seems like a hard worker. But, you know, most of the people... Most people who have jobs are hard workers. I don't think it's about that. I think it's a certain perspective on the necessity of rules and the mindset that if I don't know what a rule is for, I'm going to remove it. So G.K. Chesterton has this very famous kind of contrast that he draws between people who tend to be right-wing politically and people who tend to be left-wing politically. He says people who tend to be left-wing politically, you're walking through the woods and you come across a fence. And you don't know why the fence is there. And you say, I don't know why this fence is here. I'm removing it. And the person who's right-wing walks through the forest and sees the fence and says, I have no idea why the fence is here. I'm going to go find out why the fence is here, and then maybe I'll remove it. And that's the kind of Burkean conservative attitude toward rules, the attitude that this rule was put here for a reason. Now, maybe the rule sucks. Maybe the rule has to go. But let's try and figure out what was at the root of the rule before we just wipe out all the fences and then try to rebuild from the ground up all these new fences. And that's especially true in a civilization that's the most prosperous and free civilization ever created. I mean, if the system really sucked, that would be one thing. But I think people are kind of ungrateful about the fact that we live in the best possible time in the best possible place.